And hello, everyone. Welcome, wherever you are in the world, to me, to you, to me, to you. Those of you who know the Chuckle Brothers know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you don't, no worries. I am Commander Yannick, and hello, welcome to Elite Dangerous. Now, here we are, looking upon the wonderful Orion Nebula, Barnard's Loop, and the good old Horsehead Nebula all in the same shot. As the stream title does suggest, I am going to be going on a little voyage to Amundsen's star, the most southerly distant star, that is, the southerly star in the galaxy. If you look at the galaxy at a sort of north, south, east, west kind of compass point, it's literally the furthest one to the south of us, in that direction, as it were. But yeah, I'll sort of zoom out a bit further to sort of show you some idea of the kind of voyage I'm taking, and see these main group of tags at the moment are in the side of the bubble where I am presently. We'll be flying across where the cursor is, across the Barnard's Loop in that kind of direction. Further afield, I'm thinking of passing possibly the Seagull Nebula. I mean, that's a distinct possibility, but it's more likely the Rosette Nebula in the centre here, because that's more in the direction of where we're going. Zoom out a bit further. I will be also visiting the DSSA carrier right ascension, and also where the cursor is, that is Amundsen star at the very end of our journey, the southernmost point of the galaxy. As we look out across it, you can see where these different, the different sort of bookmarks, I shouldn't just call them tags really, they're bookmarks, aren't they? But still, I'll probably take this voyage over several different stream sessions, to be honest, because I could do it all in one day, but there's no point in rushing for the sake of it, and there will be elements of this trip that I'll probably end up buckyballing in, but beyond that, you know, I'm not going to buckyball the whole thing just for the sake of to do it in one stream. That would be silly. Best to enjoy the journey, as we all say. How's everyone doing out there in chat? Hope you're having a good one wherever you may be in the world, whatever you may be doing. This wonderful international community of elite that we have. But best to get on with the journey, I think. Right. Today I'll be flying in my trusty Crate Phantom, known as Orion's Chariot. It's done me well, actually, through several different expeditions, including the Orion expedition, Mercury's Wings, and I've also used it some of the time on the recent Apollo 15 expedition. Still, see how many jumps it is to the waypoint that I think. Yeah, I have selected a waypoint deliberately quite near Barnard's Loop, because on the trajectory downwards towards the Rosette Nebula, Barnard's Loop kind of messes up the navigation, the long distance sort of plotting navigation, so you have to plot it in sort of smaller distances. Well, that's what I'm trying to do here, so I have to go I'll pass by the loop just to, yeah, also it's a nice thing to see it as well, but then I'll go around the outside of it and downwards towards the Rosette Nebula. But let's go. I think also in the near future I'll start doing commentary videos again on bits of news in Elite Dangerous, because I know I've done those before and they've been pretty cool. Obviously there hasn't been any sort of massive news recently, but obviously there is update 7 for Odyssey coming in the near future. Obviously most people know by now I'm not massively optimistic about its prospects, but we'll see. I mean, FDev may still surprise me in what they do. For the better, I hope. I'm always one of these people that, despite my disappointment with Odyssey, I've always wanted it to be fixed. Never said it was impossible. It's just, you know, is it unlikely? Who knows? What do you all think of Odyssey? What's your own personal experiences for those of you who've played it? I would like to know. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's been quite polarizing as a community at large. I think it very much depends on what kind of events you do. If you're an explorer, it's more likely to be a negative answer than if, say, you do mostly like combat, also trade missions in the bubble. Because they seem to be some of the least impacted people by the sort of different design and decisions. The thing is, there's some things in Odyssey that it's hard to actually say whether they're actually a feature or a bug. Because in all fairness, Frontier are not really saying in lots of cases, so what are we to make of that? Yes. The beautiful and ever-present, all-seeing eye of Barnard's Loop gets ever closer in our vision. It's a beautiful place, but it's kind of wondrous how it sort of obviously changes and unfolds itself bit by bit as you get nearer. It's always the way, but it's beautiful. I've been trying to sort of fiddle with my webcam to try and sort of reintegrate it into my new double PC setup. It's not perfect by any means, but I hope to sort of get it working as I would like pretty soon. So yeah, I'm going to buckywall this leg of the journey probably to the side of Barnard's Loop. When I get to the other side, I might start scanning systems, because a lot of these systems are probably going to be scanned between here and the loop anyway. Most likely. I mean, you can still find some systems that are undiscovered. The scoopable stars tend to have a fewer number of undiscovered systems in them, just because they are scoopable stars, therefore more likely to be visited in the first place. I must admit, like a lot of people, I often tend to turn off unscoopable stars when I'm travelling around the galaxy. It depends, really. If there's something interesting I want to see, specifically, or a system that looks like it might be interesting, then again, you might not necessarily notice that if you don't have those particular stars switched on trying to navigate. So it swings and roundabouts, really. You gain somewhere, you lose somewhere else. It's just the nature of it. How's the stream for you all out there? I'm trying to get some kind of feedback since I've changed my setup a bit to hopefully improve the kind of video you're getting. I do have another screen viewing it, but it's quite a small one, so it's hard for me to tell in terms of detail what the hell's going on, because everyone's different now. Everyone's got a slightly different setup way of viewing it, whether you're on a phone, tablet, laptop, desktop PC, etc. Even some people got projectors. Those are amazing. I mean, not necessarily the technology in them, but just seeing such large images projected onto the wall. There's something always quite sort of, I don't know, grand about it. Something grand that sort of resonates well. If you've got a good wall to and the right colour to project against, obviously it has to be something that's kind of white or, you know, near white, I suppose. Otherwise you're not going to get a good colour balance. It really depends. Commander Yamix has just come online. Who frequently people get confused with me, or vice versa. He's a fun guy, really. I think some people find his cynicism too much to stomach, but I like him. He means no harm to anyone. He is genuinely a good-hearted guy. It's just his whole style of the YouTube video making is somewhat cynical, I'd say, at the very least. I don't think of a better word for it than that, but it's probably the most accurate. Yeah, I do want to balance the sound slightly off here. I should probably turn down the background noise. Yeah, that's probably slightly better. Let me know how it is for you out there. So I think the music may have been too loud previously, or the background sound is too loud. Yeah, that probably will do it. I hope so anyway. And Yamex has gone offline again. Ah, nice. Yeah, I think one of the most fun events that I've been to in some years, outside of expeditions this is, was actually one that he put on, I think for his channel hitting a certain level of subscribers. Or it might have been an anniversary. I think it might have been an anniversary actually of his channel. But anyway, it was quite interesting because he tried to gather together like at least one of every different kind of spacecraft within the league. He got more than one in the end, but a whole bunch of people turned up, including myself. I turned up in a Cobra Mark IV, which there ended up being two of us there with Cobra Mark IVs, but we weren't to have known that. But it was quite a gathering actually, because even though we were like near a space station and the instancing was not that amazing, we still got about 30-ish people, maybe more, into it. This is pre-COVID, so maybe about 2019 I think. But yeah, it was quite a spectacular sight to see and lots of fun as well. I mean, Yamik's events, when they happen, do tend to be these sort of gathering of the tribes. It don't happen very often. And when I say gathering of the tribes, I mean they've got sort of, hardcore PvP players like even gankers, sort of mixing freely with explorers and racers and all kinds of other people that you wouldn't necessarily always get together all in the same place at the same time. So yeah, there aren't too many figures in the community who are like that, who are sort of, respected by so many people, different communities or different parts of the community, sub-communities if you will. Yes. It's all good though. It's all good. Right, let's see. Not too far away from hitting my waypoint, I think, in the trapezium sector. That's the thing in the bubble and nearby. A lot of the sectors are named obviously after astronomical places, usually constellations or nebulae, which is beautiful in its own way. I do wonder if the sound is still slightly too high for the background. It's probably right. This is the only thing about ever changing your setup from one PC to other, or getting a new streaming PC, etc., is having to go back to rebalancing everything after finding a good setup previously. How's everyone doing out there in Twitchland? Hope you're having a wonderful time. Let me know what you're up to today. Anything interesting happening in your world? Maybe something bizarre happening in your world. I'm always up for funny stories. Right, let's crack on. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I say I'll buckyball for until I get to the trapezium sector. Oh, we're going to neutron jump this one, are we? Awesome. Neutron star's the next destination, so that's good. As I've previously said on some of the streams, I think my last one especially, yeah, I will definitely be covering some spacecraft launches in the near future. Obviously, time allowing. Sometimes they're at quite weird times for me here in the UK, but wherever possible, I will do so. I didn't actually get the charge properly though. Yep, have to go around again. Back into the stream. Stream of the neutron star, that is. Yeah. Not really an advisable angle to go through that way. Interesting, the other nebula in front over there. That's cool. As you see, like, the colour of the neutron star does actually sort of colour what you see within the system until you get farther away from it. Okay, let's jump over 200 light years and take us probably very close to Barnard's Loop there. Right, okay, shout out to everyone in chat still. If anyone's new to playing Elite, let me know. People are always interested in finding out about this. Maybe you've been playing Elite for years. Maybe it's your first time. I know a lot of people do check out streams to see how streamers are doing things, and before actually buying a game. That's quite a good way. Something that really, before streaming really became a thing, it was something obviously that no one could do, or you might be able to see a small like promo video of someone playing it, or some footage from the game, but gave you quite limited exposure. I suppose demos were the only other thing that you could use to make a decision on what games you bought and which ones you didn't. Of course, reviews as well. But reviews, as always, are somebody's opinion. I mean, they might love something that you might hate, and vice versa as well. We're curious about streaming times as well. I mean, I know people are spread across different continents, and this is often going to be suboptimal for some people and not for others. But yeah, I'm always trying my best to sort of spread things out in a sort of even way. I mean, I think streaming at the weekends is probably out, to be fair, because there's just so many people doing it all at the same time. It's probably not the best idea to do it all at once. I do think of doing it over the bank holiday we've just had in the UK. I know it's probably only in the UK we actually have like a national holiday, but that's usually a time where sort of it seems to vary huge amount depending on the weather. If it's great weather, like every man and his dog metaphorically are out there doing their thing, and not many people are watching streams or on streams. So. But then you've got the situation completely opposite. If it's heavily raining or there's some other weather problem, you know, most people are going to be indoors and streams are going to be a lot more common. So it does vary a huge amount. I think we're coming towards the end of this first leg of the journey. I'll then set my bearings again and recalculate my trajectory across the galaxy, as you do. think I've decided also now what the other titles I'm going to end up streaming. I do a certain amount of retro gaming as well. I will definitely be doing the previous Elite, or a previous Elite, I should say, Frontier Elite 2, which is a fun game. Now, the thing is, I know Drew Wagar has done retro streams of Frontier First Encounter. I can't remember if he actually did Elite 2, though. I'll have to look into that. But either way, I'm going to be doing it anyhow. Not many people will stream it earlier Elite, so yeah, just out of interest, it's a good one for a comparison. It's the first Elite game I ever played, for sure. But yeah, that seems like a really good idea. Plus, I'll probably do a couple of other things like Shinobi or Golden Axe, because they're sort of classic games and well worth a watch if you've never seen them before. A lot of fun to be had. Some of these are like PC conversions, some of them are Amiga conversions. I say conversions because most of them were originally arcade games that were converted to home computers. And the Amiga, for its era, was like an amazing platform. I suppose you could say graphically it was quite similar to the Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis as it was in North America and Japan. Like a 16-bit computer with like about 64 color graphics, which is quite good for the era, as you say. And I think 16-bit computers are the first time like computers got really sort of quite decent, well at least passably decent graphics, and didn't have a really limited color palette, so it looked a lot more convincing all of a sudden. And the gap between like an 8-bit and a 16-bit computer is absolutely massive. It's like night and day. 8-bit games are fun, and don't get me wrong, I do love a lot of old 8-bit games, but the 16-bit ones were such a huge difference. But yeah, funny thing is, I think the Genesis Mega Drive actually used the same central processor as the Amiga and the Atari ST actually, so they were all in the same ballpark, at least in terms of like rough computing power. That's a nice image of Barnard's Loop there. I'm going to go to external cam for this actually, because that looks nice. Yeah, that's genuinely beautiful. I know it's a word that gets overused when it comes to Elite, but this is one of the reasons that people love this game. Oh yes, that's beautiful. Other nebulae over there. Another one there. The main star. Yeah, it's remarkable. To scan the view of the system. Just sit back and watch for a bit. It's very soothing, this kind of image. I certainly think so anyway. Very relaxing, definitely. Very relaxing. Surprisingly so. The way the nebulae, particularly this one, are sort of drawn into the game is remarkably lifelike. I mean, there are some images of this, say, of nebula or certain distant stellar objects that do look pretty similar, to actual astronomical photos. So it is quite astonishing. But again, that's why we love it, isn't it? Ah, that's cool. Right. Let's go to the galactic map. Right, we are just the sort of bubble side of the Barnard's Loop area, parallel sort of with the Orion Nebula where my cursor is there. Sort of looking back upon the bubble where the sort of massive different bookmarks are. Right, okay, let's move out further. Actually, we could have gone to EX Cancri. Maybe we still will at some point. Might do that on the return leg, actually. See if I can get a direct plot between here and... Actually, I probably can't because of... Yeah, here and the SSA carrier there. I'll probably take a shorter plot, say via the Rosette Nebula as I originally planned to do. So yeah, that's a good idea. Right, here we go. I'll plot fairly close to the Rosette, and then I'll see what's what. As a sort of marker, I usually tend to navigate towards a blue star at the end of my runs, to sort of signify in some way that I've actually come to the end of it. Something I developed quite early on. It's just something slightly peculiar to me, I suppose. But it's an interesting way of doing it because there's so many red dwarfs out there. It makes sense not to end on one. Plotting failed. I wonder it's the loop again. It probably is, isn't it? We have to navigate to the other side of it because it does interfere a lot in plotting. Yeah, it's probably trying to plot a straight line through the loop and it's not working, so I'm going to have to go around again. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, those are permanent. That makes now I know why I'm having nav problems around it. Sometimes I forget quite how big the permanent lock sectors actually are in this area of the galaxy. Yeah, it might be best to go under it, I suppose, rather than around. That might be quicker, actually. If I go downwards, now that's also locked. I'm going to have to go around, aren't I? I can't. Can I go upwards above the loop? I think I can, but what's the optimum plot? What altitude will I reach? Go to the main height in the galaxy now. I can... Yeah, it's easier up here, I think. I have to go around the outside slightly anyway. Yeah, I'll do that. I have left neutron plotting on purpose so that obviously I can take sort of minor neutron jumps wherever possible. Does save time. Plotting failed again. Interesting. This is the thing, the whole area around the loop does tend to screw up plotting quite badly. Sometimes more than you anticipate. This is certainly turning out to be more of a diversion than I thought. Yeah, I'm just going to have to go around nearby. I'm going to have to do much shorter plots than I'd originally thought. Let's go out this way a bit more. Might be unnecessary sort of diversion, but I have time. I hope so anyway. Anyone who's just joined us, welcome. I am Commander Yannick. And this is a voyage to Amundsen's star, named after, of course, the famous Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen, the first man to reach the South Pole, leader of the Norwegian expedition. I think it was the early 1900s. And he reached the South Pole just ahead of the rival team from the UK, led by Captain Scott. And unfortunately, Scott did make it there, saw the Norwegian flag, realised he'd been beaten, and unfortunately, him and I think his entire group actually died on the way back, which is unfortunate, really. Oh, plotting's failed again. Damn. This is almost turning into like a tragi-comic thing, isn't it? How far do I have to go around to actually not have a plotting problem? Maybe I have to go back slightly. I think I can pick my way through slightly around here, but it's like very short plots I have to use to do that. Okay. Right, let's say from here to here. Unknown again. Yeah, I think going across the top of it might be the best move. And again, there's this whole area behind the loop, isn't it? I think I'll just go this way to the side. Yeah. But no, back to the Tales of Scott and Amundsen. Yeah, it was a great rivalry at the time, and it probably shouldn't be much of a surprise that great explorers, though the Brits were in this time, and explored much of the world, and people like Captain Cook and the like, had got to various areas, at least from a like European-centric perspective. Yeah, discovery. But I think Amundsen's team were much better equipped, probably because they were Norwegian and they'd spent much longer periods of their lives in those sort of extreme cold conditions. They had, I think, a lot better equipment generally. They had very thick furs and what have you that they'd brought with them that were much better against the extreme cold weather they found down there at the South Pole than Scott's. Scott's team were having like more modern sort of clothing, but it was not as good against the frostbite that would set in, and ultimately the cold claimed all of their lives, and it was a tragedy, really. Oh, hi there, bad cops. How's it going? Coming exclusively from inside the galley, yeah. You're on board chefing, are you? Yeah, we could do with something of that, definitely, in deep space. Have some nice juicy steaks, I think. Or whatever takes your fancy, you know. Oh, that would be fun. I fancy a nice steak now, actually. Oh, yeah. That's the thing about these ships, is that there's no obviously like released, floor plan. There's obviously, people have made their own up with their imaginations about, where the sleeping quarters would be, where the galley would be, where the sort of basic, amenities of daily life would be on such a ship. Because if you're out in the black for weeks, months, even years, you're gonna have to need some amenities, aren't you? Probably some kind of break and relaxation room, a games room, maybe even. Yeah, there's lots of things that could be done, but a galley, I think, just any other kind of food preparation area would be kind of critical. It's also an interesting thing, isn't it? Especially with like Star Trek, you've got replicators, and that's quite a common theme across sci-fi generally. Yeah, this area around the loop, Barnard's Loop, and nearby nebula, there's so many nebula around here. I think in previous videos I've done like a tour of this region, but it is... just look at that, that's fantastic. So what have you been up to today then, bad cops? Hope you're having a good one. I'm gonna have a neutron jump. 290 light years. It's pretty long. Yeah, if no one's if you already have an elite account, and I'd very much recommend going to the Barnard's Loop area just because there's so much to see, so many nebulae, so many cool things, so many beautiful sights out there. The wonders of the galaxy unfold before your eyes. This was literally true as well in this region of space. Definitely worth the trip, and it's not far from the bubble either, so you don't even have to be much of a hardcore explorer by any stretch of the imagination to make it work. Cool. Right. Onward our journey goes. Yeah, I think once I'm round the other side of the whole Barnard's Loop and the other, you know, permit lot sectors which are nearby, I'll head to the Rosette. Rosette Nebula is not one of these real life nebulae that are simulated in the game pretty accurately. It looks more like the sort of generic, you know, generated, procedurally generated nebulae that you see elsewhere in the game, but yeah, they're quite fairly similar looking to the Rosette Nebula. But the Rosette is actually real. I think that's the main difference. So, do you play much Elite there, Bad Cops? I think you told me before you got an account, so I know that you have at least some interest in getting to grips with the game. It would be fun to ship interiors. I know that's something that a lot of people do want from Elite, and that back in the day, David Braben did actually say he was going to be bringing to Elite Dangerous at some point in the future. And okay, that was what, 9 years ago now. But it would be cool, I think, to have that inside the ships. Because I think it increases that sense of being sort of connected with the space rather than just seeing the cockpit and nothing else. The sense of this is your ship and you're sort of, you know, really in space and you're really in this situation. It adds more multi-dimension to it. I think it's not. Some people have talked about how much gameplay you get from it. It's like, well, there's other aspects of the game that you don't actually get a huge amount of gameplay directly from it, but they're there for more of a sort of a sense of kind of immersion or completeness. I mean, I don't necessarily expect to be able to interact with every little thing in the ship, but just be able to walk up and down a corridor, you know, access a few sort of different rooms on the ship would be interesting. A few different spaces. Like, even if you, for example, there was an engine room, there's not much you could do in the engine room or fiddle around with it. It would be nice to have them because, you know, like in Odyssey, there's these new bases and you can walk around those. It's like, well, you do that on a base. Why not on a ship? You know, there's various things that you can fiddle with there. So why not on a ship? It wouldn't be that hard, surely, you know. I mean, considering the most surprising part of this, they don't seem to have actually wanted to develop this aspect, which I find very weird. I think most people find it quite strange. Like, I'm not so absolute about absolutely needing ship interiors, but it would be good to have. I do think it would be useful. I mean, at the moment, it'd be great if, you know, Frontier just fixed the Odyssey planetary issues and the repeating tiles and things like that. That would be that's kind of a core thing that they have to fix, really. But yeah, I mean, ship interiors are sort of another step forward at some point in the future. I hope, anyway. But yeah, it's definitely something that people want. And On Foot VR is another major one. Again, I totally understand, considering that Elite's considered one of the best, if not the best, 3D VR games. And it's like, well, if you're literally one of the best, if not the best, VR game out there, especially space games, why would you not want to actually do it for, On Foot immersive VR? It's just like, it doesn't make any sense. And they're probably going to put it in at some point in the future, but could just say, like, okay, we're not going to put it in this year, maybe next year or whenever. I mean, some like long-term plans like that would be good. You don't have to be specific necessarily. Just say that it's our plan within the next, 2 calendar years to be doing this or something. The same with ship interiors and everything else. It's like also the idea of obviously when they added thin atmospheric planets in Odyssey along with space lengths, like, yeah, I welcome both, but not at the cost of screwing other elements of the game. The cost is, if the planetary features aren't fixed in Odyssey, then the cost is too high. Basically, massively reduce one area of the game to expand it in another, but in a way that maybe isn't actually so useful as you think. I mean, space legs, like ship interiors, to me aren't necessarily critical. They're nice to have. I personally like space legs more than I like ship interiors as an idea, but I think atmospheric planets was always a key one, personally, that I would like to get. Obviously, we have got that in Odyssey to some degree, but yeah, that's definitely a step forward. I won't deny that for a second. Okay, how many jumps do we have left? Only 2 before reaching that waypoint. I see Commander Burst put out a new video. I'll be watching that later. Maybe even commenting on it, actually. That might be an idea. Actually, I could just watch it here and then we could talk about it potentially. It might be a good idea, actually. Yeah. I mean, I do like Commander Burr and Commander Reaney. They're genuinely lovely people, and I do very much respect what they do for the community, and they have an excellent YouTube channel. Their Discord's pretty fun as well. But yeah, I mean, such things like in-game news like that, or community news, it's a very worthwhile service, and yeah, they both seem very fun people. They yeah, I mean, I'd like the fact that they're actually quite honest about things. Like they will praise and criticize people and Frontier, especially whenever necessary. But this is the thing. It's like they're very much in it for the long haul by the looks of it. And kudos to them. If you've never checked out the Burr Pit before, it's a cool YouTube channel that exclusively deals actually in Elite content, which is interesting because even a lot of other Elite related news serviceable channels on YouTube aren't exclusively Elite. They do like a certain amount of Elite stuff, or Elite is one amongst many titles. Obsidian Ant being a good example of this. He does do a lot of Elite news, but he does a lot of other stuff as well, usually space related, and that's cool. But yeah, shout out to the Burr Pit. Right, let's go back to navigating and see what is going on. Right, now we've kind of rounded the loop. Okay, into the distance we have a bunch of nebulae. We don't have to visit Rosette, actually. We could go elsewhere. Could go to the Jellyfish Nebula, I suppose. Though Rosette is actually more in the direction that I'm talking about. Let's have a look how far the Jellyfish actually is from here. It's about 3,000. And Rosette is probably slightly further. Not much further, 3,900. So, okay. If I can get a straight line between here and the Rosette Nebula, I'll be quite happy. Because that's the thing, the navigation sort of computations within Elite are all done upon very sort of straight line flight paths. It doesn't really do these dog legs or anything else. It's always very straight line. I know, obviously, our own plotting manually tends to be the same, but obviously you can change that whenever you want to. I have a horrible feeling this is not going to give me a resolved plot to where I want to be. I'm going to have to actually just keep on going in the direction I am at present. It's taking a long time to do this. So yeah, but yeah, there's the reverse sectors, large sectors indeed, over around Barnard's Loop that are definitely not accessible to anyone other than developers. They have they have the permits to access these places. But again, developers also have that cheat mode where they can move themselves anywhere in the galaxy they want anyway. So it's or development mode, whatever it's called. You know what I mean? If you're a developer, you get to do these magical things within the game and the galaxy. Oh, we've actually got a straight plot. That's nice. 3,800 light years. That's cool. Yeah, so the Rosette is definitely a place on my flight path. There's no other major nebulae on the route, so there's probably a few planetary nebulae that are worth checking out, though. Yeah, okay, so 51 jumps from here. Fair play. Let's get on. Be a while before we see the nebula anyway. You can see them for a long way off. I mean, the biggest ones. I mean, Barnard's Loop is so vast you can see it from thousands of light years away, literally. Other nebulae, you know, not so much, but you can still see them a long way off. Especially when you get to clusters of nebula, like not just the Orion kind of complex and Barnard's Loop complex. Places like the festival grounds near Colonia as well. Another place well worth visiting if you've never been there. Colonia Nebula itself is worth a journey, but all the other stuff that's nearby. I used to lead some local short expeditions for CCN, starting off in Colonia, then going around stuff near the Colonia Nebula in the festival grounds region of space. There's so much stuff there. I think it got like 4 of those short expeditions in it, each one kind of lasting basically a weekend. You know, you'd go out on a Saturday and then come back on a Sunday and visit a bunch of places over the 2 days. And a lot of people like those because obviously it was like the same we did on a proper expedition, but just in miniature. But like you'd end up cruising between 2 different waypoints at least. You know, there'd be usually about 4 or 5 waypoints, and you'd do like 2 or 3 a day. So they wouldn't be that far apart. They'd often be, let's say, a few hundred light years, maybe 1,000 light years apart at most. So you'd end up like part of your meetup. You'd end up cruising between these different POIs, nebula, planetary nebula, interesting stars, cool planetary features, all stuff like that, really. But yeah, I'll probably stop buckyboarding quite soon, actually, because obviously this is not the most fun to be had on a stream, just jumping continuously. But welcome to anyone who's just joined the chat or joined the channel. I am Commander Yannick, and everyone is welcome, wherever you may be in the world. This is Elite Dangerous, and this is the trip to Amundsen star. I wonder what people like Scott and Amundsen would actually make of, well, the real-world exploration of space, let alone the games that like this have come out. Ooh, T-type star. Sends you the codex there. Discovered. T-type star discovered. Oh, nice, cool. I don't actually look at the codex all that much, to be fair. Time to time I'll check it out, but it could definitely need some work. Definitely need some work on that one. Right, onward we fly. Yeah, I may well do a reaction video actually to not reaction video per se because they can get a bit silly at times, but a sort of commentary video on things that have been said in stream, like I've done for Obsidian Ants. Well, not necessarily commenting on like his video per se, or Burpit or anyone else, but just talking about some of the topics that they raise in them, because because those are often quite good sort of sources of information as well. I think I did one of Obsidian Answer videos before because he was talking about some of the Odyssey issues in a very sort of succinct way that I liked. So I think it's good to do stuff like that, especially. Right, I will probably look to make planetfall at some point in one of these places. How many jumps do I have to the Rosette anyway? 48. This system has already been discovered, but I will see what's what. It's quite a plain system, this one. There's actually that much of interest. Yeah. It looks okay, but nothing to write home about. As the expression goes, see what there is in the next system and maybe check that out. Hopefully, now getting away from the loot, there should be more unexplored systems. Right, this system also looks discovered, but I'm still going to check it out. That's even more boring, haha. Right, let's let's keep on going. This is the thing with some of the Class M stars, the red dwarfs. Because they're quite cold, you often do get these sort of preponderance of icy worlds. Now, they can be cool. Some very spectacular icy worlds out there. But sometimes they yield systems that are just quite dull. And lots of them out there in the galaxy, I mean, maybe even more of that kind of system than anything else out there. I think that there's more Class M stars than any other class, off the top of my head. I think the galaxy is mostly comprised of those. And then obviously there's lots of other stars, different categories, different masses. The red dwarf stars will be around for a long time though, because they burn very, very slowly. Their fuel's exhausted at a very slow rate compared to other brighter stars that will burn through their hydrogen much quicker. Because obviously they're balls of fusion energy in the sky, or in space. In deepest space. It is beautiful though, it always is. Hello to you out there in Twitchland, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Commander Yannick, and this is the trip to Amundsen Star. Looking out for interesting planets along the way. I'm not really doing that much discovery at the moment because obviously these are mostly discovered systems. Just looking out to see if there's anything of interest. Ooh, this doesn't look too bad. Yeah. Looks like it could be a water world there. Already mapped by other people though. Yeah. Some of these don't look too bad though. Yeah, I'm desperate to make planetfall at the moment, so I'll probably just keep on going for now. Yeah, I think so. This is always the way, though. The further you get away from the bubble, the more likely you are to find systems that are as yet undiscovered, unmapped by other people. Remember, was it? Can't remember the exact percentage, but it's about 0.1 something percent of the entire galaxy in Elite has actually been discovered by the player base. Take literally like thousands of years at this rate to discover them all. Obviously, like the space around the bubble and near bubble is the most discovered. Even then, you see the odd system, especially say some of the fainter like brown dwarfs and similar that maybe no one's bothered with because they just don't think it's worth it. Worth going to them. I mean, I've been that way sometimes as well. This is still a discovered system, but it is looking better. This one looks quite interesting, actually, or potentially. Yeah. I think I'll keep going then. Yeah, it doesn't absolutely have to be undiscovered, but it's nice once I start finding them. I feel like I should have some music in the background for this. Maybe I should. What do you think? Actually, it's one thing I forgot to put. I have the intro music, but then I should maybe keep that in the background. Yeah, that sounds like a wise move. Let's put on some music. Cool, cool, cool. See what this lovely system has to offer for us. Again, another sort of fairly cold red dwarf system. Not much of interest generally. Right. This isn't too bad. Not amazing, but not bad either. Yeah. Onward to the next system. It is quite random though, because obviously procedural generation of what you'll find from system to system. Obviously, once they're discovered, they're obviously in the database of systems. Yeah, keep the volume at a lower level, I think, in the background. I'll use some other music as well at some point, but this is quite cool anyway. It's nice and dramatic. It's probably quite a good level, I think. Probably keep the actual level of the game in there. Might be able to hear the music still. Yeah, that seems kind of plausible level, I think. Let me know what you think in the chat. Oh crap, I've accidentally just turned on the wrong window. I shouldn't be saying things like that on on a PG stream. Accidentally start activating YouTube windows and things. Sorry about that, chat. Old chap. Old chat. Right, see what the system is showing us today. Interesting, some Mars-like worlds. The old high metal content world. These might be worth scanning. I think I'll say that I'd rather plough on to find an undiscovered system right now. Okay. I think the game sound is probably too quiet. They turn off the music. What does it sound like? Turn it down. Broadly speaking, the sort of most well-trodden flight paths, as it were, tend to be between different nebulae, because people obviously use those as a target for navigation and the general interest, which is totally understandable. But that tends to be the main place that you're going to find people discovering and mapping things, will be within those kind of corridors. Outside of those, just go off plane very slightly from any of those, and you'll find a plethora of undiscovered systems. Ooh, some nice stars. There's only 4 in the system anyway. 4 bodies in the system. You can usually tell a system has been discovered before if all the planets appear on the scanner there at the bottom of the screen. It's not always the case, but it frequently is. This is an interesting series of orbits. These 3 here particularly, where the cursor is. Unusual? Not insanely unusual, but just moderately unusual, yeah. Yeah. How is it going out there, chat? Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me if you're feeling cool. Uncool? Maybe something in the middle. Wherever it is, I hope it's cool with you. There's always that sort of joke or the cliche that to be a successful modern streamer, you've really got to have like a dyed hair and a few other sort of characteristics as well, which is quite funny in itself. Truth is, you don't really need any one particular thing, you just have to know what you're doing. Yeah, I think this music is quite good for intro, but maybe not for the main part of the game. Possibly. I'll put some Orfeo Fortuna's music back on again. The wonderful British-based artiste. There's only two bodies in the system anyway. Ah, yes. It's quite funny. Orfeo Fortuna obviously is OF, but also Odd Future is OF, which is another act that I very much like. Odd Future being the Los Angeles-based hip-hop collective, which of itself spurned lots of other sort of spin-off acts, like The Internet, the band The Internet, not the thing The Internet. Frank Ocean, probably the most famous sort of graduate of Odd Future, and also Tyler the Creator, the other major sort of name, as it were, to come out of that group in that time. Generally like a hotbed of great talent, these people. But yeah, Orfeo Fortuna is also a cool artist, but not the same person or the same thing. I think they're a solo artist anyway. Yeah, I think so. Okay, it's probably a good time at the moment to take a break, and I will be back very shortly. Right, okay, and welcome back everyone. Hello if you've just joined me, I am Commander Yannick, and we are en route to the Amundsen star area of the galaxy via the Rosette Nebula. At the moment I'm trying to actually start up the other music that I actually have for the middle of the stream. But yeah, it's not 100% complying at the present time, but we shall see. Let's yeah, I'll just start playing it anyway. It's probably the best thing. Streaming music for the masses. No, I'm not really going to sing for you, don't worry. Slightly jokey voice that anyway. It's more sort of a comedy sort of lounge singer voice than anything actually serious. Yeah. That's better. Background. Supposed to be background music, not foreground music. Sorry about that, everybody. Back on course again. Right, okay, 20 bodies. Look like we might actually have an unclaimed system here. Undiscovered system. Right, the undiscovered country awaits. Need to get a certain distance away from the star before I dethrottle. And start to scan what we have here in this wonderful little piece of space. It's probably nothing major, probably mostly icy bodies by the looks of it, but it's always good fun to find new things. Right, okay. And we have an icy body, ladies and gentlemen. Boys, girls, and Thargoids. And anybody else, whatever pronoun you may be using. Yes, we have a series of icy bodies. Otherwise known as the British commuting public. But maybe not so much anymore. Yeah, I may go and look at one of these a bit closer. Something resolves after a little while. It's all good though. A bit bigger this one, 0.38G. These aren't all landable. Some of them are going to be landable, some not so much. Non-terraform world discovered codex updated. Well, most of these are non-terraformable. Defined terraformable world tends to be the exception rather than the rule. Another icy body, and another icy body. An ice cream cone body instead. Ice creams in space. Some more sort of random things going on, really. I think I've done all that. That's good. have a look what the system map now looks like. Again, it's sort of a fairly straightforward and not particularly amazing series of icy bodies. Reminds me of Fry in Futurama being looking for someone called Icy Wiener. I'll land on one of these. This looking might be fun. I don't know if it is or not, but you never know. Yeah, let's land on one of these for fun. Maybe we'll find that person called Icy Wiener he was looking for all along. So juvenile, but it's such fun. Futurama's a great series. Those who not watched it, check it out. It's great. Genuinely great. Yeah, this is a moon, an icy body floating around an icy body. One smaller one going around in orbit of a larger one. The moon of an already icy planet. Thank you for all the various bits and subscriptions, everyone in the chat. Any donations, they're all very much wonderfully accepted by you all. Wonderfully is the right word I'm looking for. Probably isn't, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart anyway. Here we are approaching the frozen body. The icy body. Yeah, it's not too bad looking actually, sort of that yellowish colour. Don't eat that yellow snow maybe? Yeah. What's the actual gravity like? It's probably not very high, is it? It's probably incredibly low actually. Yeah, 0.05 G. Not the lowest, but yeah, it's on the low side, definitely. Okay. Actually, I should really use some probes, shouldn't I? Around this world. I only need 2, so I probably shouldn't have fired them off in that pattern, should I? But they'll probably be fine. There you go. Uh-huh. Okay, these canyons look quite interesting. I may pick one of those to descend into. Ooh, that looks nice. I'll go there. Alright, so that meets the bigger canyon. Yeah, that looks nice. It's like ice shelf upon ice shelf, really. But yeah, it's a fully landable world. Oh, why not take advantage of it? A sort of raised section next to the canyon run. Actually, I might try and land near the raised section of it. Interesting. Sort of multiple canyon levels. I really like the look of this actually, it's very cool. Ooh, actually this is a more interesting world than I'd anticipated. Like the sort of almost geometric kind of wedge to it. The smoothed off edges in different places. And then the planet that we're orbiting around over there. Actually, this is turning out to be a better place to go than I had anticipated. I do like it. Yeah, I might even get the SRV out here. It's very cool. Anywhere along here would be nice. It's slightly on an incline, isn't it? Anywhere here would be good, though. Beautiful. Excellent. Let's deploy. Why am I SRV not registering? Did I not bring them with me? That would be somewhat ironic, wouldn't it? The one thing I had forgotten. This is somewhat disappointing. I'm pretty sure I left one in here, as I accidentally removed it. Looks like I did accidentally remove it, which is unfortunate. So I don't even have one. Oh well. At least I've landed here. See, if only Odyssey actually looked kind of, well, as grand in the grand scheme of things, as sort of interesting. Odyssey at the on foot looks pretty good. I will admit that at the micro level on foot, it looks great. But the further out you get, the worse it looks. Horizons is generally pretty good most places, even if the close-in detail isn't quite as high. It's still pretty good though. I mean, one thing that the whole sort of Horizons engine is very good at generating for planets is those sort of moon-like worlds, like the Earth's moon, other sort of moons in the solar system, kind of rocky or icy bodies, and yeah, it's very successful at generating terrain for those. It is kind of surprising that Frontier moved away from it, unless it was just more resources than they're willing to throw at the issue, you know, to do a procedurally generated surface rather than have these sort of series of tiles, which is the actual solution they've gone for in Odyssey. Yeah, and there's some graphics that are very overlappy, like this scene could be from Odyssey or from Horizons. It's kind of quite similar, but other ones you see are blatantly from like one or the other, really. Greetings to anyone just joining me. I'm Commander Yannick, and I'm on my way to the Rosette Nebula, and ultimately Amundsen star, a southerly star in the Elite Dangerous Galaxy, one of the more remote objects that you can visit in the game. The star above, the planet we're orbiting over there. This is genuinely a good scene, I think. I like this. It's very pretty. My spacecraft in the middle of it all. Yeah, I like it a lot. I might get on my way in a moment actually, but it's just a nice place to have landed for a while. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, apparently there's going to be updates to consoles, PC, new fixes, and social elements. Yeah, that seems plausible. Depends what they do, really. I mean, we see one of the biggest issues I've mentioned on various fora, or also on Lave Radio the other few weeks ago, wherever it was. I was on there. That the fact that part of the problem isn't just what has happened with Frontier recently, some of the decisions that they've made. It's also the fact that the actual sort of patience of the community, as it were, is worn rather thin, and that they've been sort of grinding that level of tolerance and patience down for a very long time, and to a degree things are coming home to roost now. It's an interesting question, actually, about what the actual one of the few indicators we have of numbers generally is actually the Steam numbers, as in, like, player numbers overall. I'm curious to see what the Steam numbers actually are for Elite Dangerous. Stream stats for Elite Dangerous. Just curious to check out what they actually are. Maybe I'll go flying along the canyon. It's probably a good idea, actually. Right. At the moment, just looking at some of the graphs for this, it's not looking great. I mean, yeah, it's come down off a huge peak, which was the Odyssey update. I think I'll get going again, actually. Take off. Yeah, the averages have gone down from a few months ago in June of about 20,000 Twitch viewers, 6,000. This is on Steam, by the way. To the present numbers as players, 6,000. Twitch viewers, 1,100. So yeah, I mean, funnily enough, I think the actual player numbers have gone down more than the Twitch numbers in proportion. So that's interesting. If people are still actually not playing the game, but actually like see, what streamers have been doing just to see if it's improved at all. But, yeah. Which way to go? This way or that? Ooh, Ride of the Valkyries, I hear you in the background. It's dramatic, isn't it? But yeah. I think I will fly this way across this canyon system. Either one is fine though. Towards that say moon, but we're on the moon here, so that's a planet. But yeah, no, the numbers have gone down a lot more than I'd anticipated, actually, which is interesting. So I go back in time to go back a year or so. I think the present numbers for August the 19th, the last date available. I go back to, let's say, October last year. We're still doing like about 8,000. Actually, in the whole of the last calendar year, I don't think it actually went that low. Let me check this. We'd have to go back a bit further anyway. Let's say to late 2020. Yeah, the player numbers are on the higher than they are now. Let's go back further. Let's go back pre-pandemic to 2019. August 2019. Numbers were kind of similar to as they are now for viewing. Sorry, not viewing, for players. Viewers actually less, interestingly enough. And year before that, yeah, quite similar. But yeah, the obviously the idea was Odyssey was supposed to boost player numbers, but it's not really ended up doing that. I mean, at best case scenario, they're about the same as they were. Depends how you look at it, really. Considering that how much they actually spiked during Odyssey's rollout and the sort of months building up to that. Yeah, it's gone down quite considerably. This is very picturesque. I like this. This is a beautiful scene, actually. Ah, yes. Flying over alien worlds. In my ship. This is what Elite's about, though, isn't it? Flying over undiscovered territories. In your spacecraft. Boosting around like a maniac. Not really flying like a maniac at all, but... Forgot how bad the thrusters are. This doesn't actually even rotate that quickly. Expecting it to actually flip 360 quite quickly, but it didn't do that. The thing with Explorers, often the spacecraft's engines are quite weak on personal thrusters, I'm saying. The FSDs are usually incredibly powerful, it's just the thrusters tend to be fairly weak for most exploration spacecraft. Yeah, this is not much of a canyon at all. This is more like an Odyssey canyon. I do want to see that. Oh my. Yeah. I think I will continue on my journey towards the Rosette Nebula. But anyway, back to Elite. And the big picture notwithstanding. I mean, the actual minutiae of the game, not just the big picture numbers. Yeah, I should really go and talk about that a bit more. Because it is interesting. Obviously, I'm talking a month-on-month comparison for the previous years, but see if numbers, if they recover, if how much they recover, if at all, during the following months. Because obviously, going into autumn and winter, people are outdoors less, they're indoors playing more games, so if there's an uptick in numbers, it's going to be during that period of time, or especially if the dreaded virus makes a big return, and people start to get locked down again, so that's even a word. But yeah, we shall see though. The future of Elite is not obvious, I will say that. As I've always said, I will continue to keep playing, at least as long as Horizons are still around. Beyond that, I honestly don't know. Because the thing is with Odyssey, I'd be willing to, commit more long term, especially to doing stuff with Odyssey if the terrain issue was solved, but that's a big question mark, a very big question mark. A lot of people I know have already quit, but I'll still keep playing in the hope that it does get fixed, but who knows what will happen. On a happier note, let's keep on going until we get to the Rosette Nebula. I see what else the system has to offer to us. Ooh, a little gas giant. A viewable moon, probably. Yeah, nice. Probably quite low gravity. Might be a good one. I'm going to keep on going forward, though. For now. For the foreseeable future. Yeah, that's a good point actually about state of the game, isn't it? It might do one in future. A lot of cool things I could do. Actually, in the near future, I am going to... say near future, I could well just do this today. It might be a good idea to do it today. Otherwise, what I'm saying makes little sense with it out of context. Without the proper context, I should say. How many bodies are in the system again? A 16, that's not too bad. I'll have a little bit of a scan around in that case. It's worth my while. Let's start with the gas giants. I tend to do this because obviously a lot of bodies will float around us. Orbit around a gas giant, don't float aimlessly, do they? They orbit in a quite specific trajectory. Yeah, gas giant's a good place to start with scans, I think, for that reason, because stuff orbits around them. Yeah, that asteroid is not that interesting. Rocky bodies is where it's at, or better still, high metal content worlds, and ones that you can then scan for and hope that you can find terraformable worlds. That's the optimum, anyway. Get a good amount of money for terraformable world scans. Especially if you probe them. Right. More rocky bodies. It's interesting thing about certain people start making sort of typical dad jokes at a certain stage in their life. What I don't quite understand why certain people start making those jokes when they're like, you know, in their teens or 20s. Like, why would you do that? You know, it just seems unnecessary to wind people up that much, you know. Fortunately, I've known a couple of people who are like that. Who just, you know, like, but you've always been this way, you know. Oh well, hey ho. So that's cool. The system, not the dad jokes. Dad jokes generally are not cool. Anyone out there who does tell dad jokes, always resist the impulse. Make original jokes rather than bleeding obvious ones. At least that's my hope anyway. Right, what does the system have to show for itself? Yeah, some gas giants, some generally rocky and icy bodies. Nothing surprising, but yeah, not a bad system overall. Right, let's throttle back up and head to the next system. Roll into the next town. Well, in this case, the next space town, which is a system. Okay, cool. So if it got another system, looks like it's probably a map by somebody else. Or do you scan? Yeah, I thought so. Huh. Frigna the Hut. Not seen that one before. I'll just keep going, I think. Ah, the wonderful blue glow of the neutron star. How it envelops you. You go down that sort of wonderful sort of electric blue tunnel. Ah. Cool. Very cool. So it's interesting the planets you can get a neutron star system, because obviously an Earth-like world would make little sense there, but the game still allows it for some reason. How many jumps left? 28. A fair few still. Ah, that's nice though. Yeah, fairly dull system this one again. Yeah. Right, I'm able to scan this system for once. It's always clear the star by a certain amount. And so it doesn't get in the way of the scans, basically. Then enter FSS mode. Looks like another icy body dominated system. It's probably worth a scan. That's pretty quick, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm not so surprised. It's pretty, yeah, I guess it's a pretty dull system, this one. A lot of people probably looked at it and thought, what's the point, you know? If anyone's been through it before, but maybe they haven't. 24 jumps to go. Interesting. Yeah, again, there's another fairly straightforward icy system. Ah, not so boring, this one. In high metal content. To other worlds. Yeah, I could scan this eventually, but yeah. I'll leave this one for now, though. See another nebula in the distance, but not where I'm going. It's a different place. Yay. And hello to anyone who's just joined us. I'm Commander Yannick, and this is the journey to Amundsen Star. How's everyone doing out there? No matter where you are in the world, however you are in the chat. I correct myself actually about the Steam numbers. At the moment, the last date that information's available for is actually September the 1st. And that was players 4,400 and Twitch viewers 281. Yeah, it's not amazing. Not amazing at all. So that would be... so that's today. So let me see for last Wednesday. What were the stats for that? It peaked at 4,800 with 377 viewers. Yeah, fair enough. Do some of the procedural generated sector names here. Fly Eork. Yeah, it's not the rudest one, but it's getting interesting. No worries, just keep on going. Just in the owner estimations of Elite Dangerous ranges from about bound of 2 million to 6 million in one estimate, and then between 7 to 7.2 for another, and then between 2 and 5 for another. So it goes all over the place, but definitely a few million people own it in one way, shape or form. Yeah, just looking at the sort of year trajectory. I'll probably go into in more detail, actually showing the details in person on the stream. Probably not this one. I'll probably do that in a future stream. Very near future though. Either the next one or the one after that. Look at this system, see what it's like. Ooh, volcanic world. ODB is the person who discovered much of this system. Fair play to them. A little ringed icy world by the looks of it. Yeah, cool. Nice. And the usual gas giants with rings. Naturally. Okay. I think this is probably as good a place as any to end the stream. Actually, I should probably use something cool and like find that volcanic world. That looks like a good place to end, rather than where I am right now. I can still see Barnard's Loop over there. Amazing how far away you can actually see that place. This is quite close orbit, isn't it? Then again, it is a volcanic world, so why am I surprised? I am not really. That is the truthful answer. I am not surprised. It's a beautiful scene, though. It would be a shame if it all went to waste. This is a good look. A strong look. For the planet particular. Here we go. Actually, Ride of the Valkyries is part of the Elite music, at least in previous Elites that I remember. I actually turned the in-game music off on this quite a long time ago. Just put my own music on in the background when I'm flying between places. Ooh, this is particularly fiery looking. I like this a lot. Let's put the loop in the background as well, the image. That looks like a good look. Oh yeah, I like this a lot. It's in the subtle ways this game still surprises you even after all this time. Something very vibrant about the light here, I think. That's particularly interesting. There's always, like, a lot of elite explorers, a keen eye for images. Yeah, with the loop in the background is nice. I think I might fly to the other side of the world. Or this part of it, at least. Yes, let's stop here. That's just beautiful. Here we are, between the hammer and the anvil. Between the star and the volcanic world beneath. A wonderful look. And a wonderful place. Oh, I like that. That's very cool. Ah, that's such a wonderful view. I do love this. The star in the background. The incredible heat of the volcanic world as it orbits closely. Spacecraft hanging there in space. Just beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. Elite has many things to recommend for views like this. It's definitely up there. But with that, I will end the stream. And thank you for all of you who've been watching today. Thank you for you who have all appeared in the chat. Thank you anyone who has subscribed, anyone who's given bits or donations. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. All very much appreciated and help keep this channel alive and well. I will be back streaming again in the very near future. So until then, fly in any which way you will. Have a great one, everybody. See you soon.